Hi guys, this is chapter 5 of financing the new business idea with AARevision. So I think personally this is like the boring side of finance information, but this is really key to know because this will come up. So why do firms need finance? So they need finance to start a new business, to expand the business, to buy new equipment, to buy new premises. Premises is like buildings, so your factories and stuff, to buy new stocks, to pay bills, to cover fall in demand, and to pay workers. With the bills, it's like your electricity bills for your firm, etc. Cover fall in demand, so if you don't make as much sales as you possibly can, and then you find yourself turning into a break-even point or even lower than that, then you've got to cover how much money that you have lost in your firm in order to like still be on track, really. Pay workers, because if you don't pay your workers, they're going to leave you and you're not going to sell anything and you're going to be hopeless. So there's like 3 different main sort of reasons. So it's like startup costs, day-to-day, and expansion. So the startup costs is like starting a new business. So it involves like it's like a one-off payment. So it's like when you first start your business, like your premises, your main machineries and stuff like that. So that's like your first. Day to day is like bills, as we have talked about, and expansion. So you want to expand your business. You're going to have to need extra finance to pay for it. So internal and external sources. Internal sources is owner's equity. This is the money that owners have available to put into the business. So if I was going to start a business with, let's use hand gel. I've got a hand gel now. I tend to find something every time I make a new video. This time it's hand gel. Last time it was glues. The time before that was pencils. But hey. So if I want to like sell hand gels, I'm going to need startup costs. I need my own. If I save up my own money in order to make or like start up my own business, that is my own equity. So it's my money that I haven't borrowed, that I've saved up by working, etc. So that's your owner's equity. Retained profits is money that is left over after all deductions have been taken away from total sales revenue. So this is like tax, interest, dividends that you have to pay for your shareholders, and then this can actually be reinvested into the business. Sale of assets, the business sells buildings, land, vehicles to raise money. So in order to raise money, you're going to have to sell the things that you currently have. So you can like even sell your home if you want to in order to generate money, because you bought your home using your own money, unless you won the lottery or something or inherited it or some sort. But usually it's internal. It's all to do with you. You haven't borrowed it from anyone else. With external sources, we're still on this page. External sources. So the period of time, so trade credit is like the period of time usually that is allowed for a business to supply with other businesses with goods or services. So like I've said here, so it allows you to purchase goods now and then pay them back later. So it's like you have time in order to pay back before you actually have to pay it back, basically. Overdrafts, you should know this. So like banks, if you've got like a card and stuff, so if you run out of money, if you're like on 2p or something and you're going to need to buy something in the next day and you only get money say in a month later, then you could set up an overdraft with your bank, but then you'd have to pay back this extra money that you have borrowed because you don't actually have this money in your bank. Hire purchasing and leasing, so think of renting sort of. So it's like how do you say it? So it's a long-term rental agreement. So it allows you to sell your things for a short period of time. So if you don't need your I don't know, what do I have here? Pens. If you don't need your pens right now, you could like sell them off. So it's like you're letting someone rent it for now. Loans, borrowing someone else's money for a period of time. As you know, it's like you borrow money. If you're borrowing loans from a bank, then you're going to have to pay interest back. Venture capital, so think of Dragon's Den. So it's like specialist funds. So they want a portion of your share of the amount of profit that you make as their sort of return. So they might like want 30% of your profits. So you need to know if you're willing, if your business is going to be really successful, then you wouldn't mind. But if it's like a small business and you're not earning that much, it might be a lot of your money. Share capital, finance raised by selling shares in the company, pretty straightforward. So it applies to both private and public limited. And debentures, it's like a long-term loan, and usually they secure it on companies' properties. So like if you have a building and that's where you make all your hand gels, then it's probably worth a lot. It's probably worth, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, I really don't know. I'm just going to say £100,000 and say you borrowed like, I don't know, £200,000. Well, that's really ridiculous, but you know, it's like a long-term loan. It's a lot of money that it's gonna take you time before you pay it back. And if you secure it on your company's property, usually it's about the amount that you're actually borrowing. So if it was £100,000 for all your property, then say you borrowed about £80,000, then they will be able to sell your property in order to earn back that money if you don't actually pay it back. So, business structures, liability, this is really key to know. It is responsibility for the financial debts of the business. Sole trader is an individual who runs his or her own business, so they're usually like self-employed and stuff. Like plumbers, builders, hairdressers, they're like self-employed people usually. Partnerships, so two or more people starting a business together. So this, you usually think of like dentists, have you heard of them? And solicitors, it's like this person and this person, like John and Max solicitors. So they're a partnership because it's both of them. Limited companies, it is owned by shareholders and run by directors. So shareholders, it could be anyone, it could be me. So if I like paid money in order to like invest in your company, I'm sort of taking out a share. But then again, it's the directors that really own it. Public and private limited companies. So the easiest way to sort of remember it is like with private limited companies, you can't sell shares to the public. With public limited companies, you can sell shares to the public. So if you were private, if you were like unknown and stuff, you wouldn't really be able to do stuff, right? So think of it that way. You can't sell shares because you're private. Whereas if you're public, you're sort of out there, you're on the streets, you can talk to people, you have that sort of freedom, and sort of link that with that you can actually sell shares to the market. The public limited companies, so basically they usually, the key term is it ends with PLC, so make sure with public it's PLC and not LTD. That's limited companies for private limited companies. Shares can be listed on the stock exchange market. Shares can be freely bought and sold, but usually they're like larger companies, so you need at least £50,000 of share capital before you can actually start your own public limited company. So they're usually like bigger companies. They have to make and publish full detailed accounts. So unlike private limited companies, you can like disclose some sort of information, but with public limited companies, you have to like make sure you've got your account straight up, because it's a huge company, so they need to know pretty much everything. Private limited companies, you can't sell shares to the public, as I've said before. It ends with LTD, so if there's a question and it's like LTD, it is private. So yeah, shares can't be sold without the agreement of other shareholders. So like with public limited, you can freely buy and sell shares, whereas with private, you can't. Like, you need to agree with other shareholders before you do it, and they're usually like small companies. You don't really have a minimum share capital requirement, which is actually a bonus. And share capital, let me refresh your mind if you kind of forgot, is finance raised by selling shares in the company, and it can apply to both public and private limited companies. And yeah, I think we're done, and I managed to do that in 9 minutes pretty much. So make sure you tune back into chapter 6, which is measuring the potential success of a business idea. I might go into more detail with more of these once I have completed the whole of unit 1, because if you're doing Edexcel, your exam is on the 18th of May, which is for me currently next week Monday. So good luck guys, and if you need any help with anything, drop a comment below or message me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, please subscribe and stay tuned. Bye bye.